So now let's get into equivalent ratios, as this is important when understanding proportional relationships. So equivalent ratios are ratios that represent the proportional relationship between two numbers. So let's take a look at our first example. In a classroom, there are 4 students sitting at every one table. If this classroom has exactly enough students to fit 5 tables, how many students would we be able to fit? So, students to table, this ratio is 4 to 1. So we have 5 tables in total. So what we can do is, we could multiply the number of tables by the number of students to find the total number of students. So we would have 5 tables in total, and 4 students sitting at each table. That would give us 20 students in total. Easy enough. Therefore, the ratio of students to tables is 20 to 5. This would be our students, and that would be our tables. So what if this classroom has 24 students instead? Determine how many tables we would need. So this question, instead of finding the number of students, we're now finding the number of tables. So if you have 24 students, and you divide them into groups of 4, because there are 4 students at every one table, you will see that there are 6 groups, meaning 6 tables. So this would mean that the ratio of students to tables is 24 to 6. And we would need 6 tables. So equivalent ratios are the same as equivalent fractions. When we are using equivalent ratios or proportions, we are saying that 2 ratios or fractions are equal. We can form proportions by either multiplying or dividing both the numerator and denominator of a ratio by the same number. To show you what I mean, let's look at an example. On a school trip, everyone is organized into groups of 23, with 3 of the members being supervisors and the rest being students. If there were a total of 15 supervisors, how many students are on this field trip? So, we have supervisors over students. That would be our ratio. And that would be 3 over 20. 20 because 3 of the members are supervisors, meaning the total minus 3 would be students, which is 20. So our proportion would be 15 over, let's say, x, because we don't know the value. So what would we do here? Well, we can divide 15 by 3 to see what this fraction right here is being multiplied to get the new proportion. So by dividing 15 by 3, we would get 5. So we know that 20 times 5 would give us the value for x. So x equals 20 times 5, meaning that x is 100. So therefore, the number of students on this field trip is 100. let's look at our next example. So a small box of chocolates has 4 milk chocolates and 16 chocolates filled with coconut stuffing. If a larger box of chocolates by the same brand has 20 chocolates in total with the same ratio of milk chocolate to coconut, how many of each chocolate are in the larger box? We can use equivalent ratios here and work with all three to determine how many chocolates of each type are in the total box. So let's start with our equivalent ratios. So what we can do here is we have our milk chocolate, our coconut chocolate, as well as our total. And the ratio is 4 to 16 to 20. And then this is in the smaller box. And then in the larger box, we have an unknown amount of milk, an unknown amount of coconut, and a total of 30 in our large. So, by what factor do we multiply 20 chocolates to get 30? So let's find that out by dividing 30 by 20, and this should give us 1.5. So now we can multiply 16 and 4 by 1.5 to get the number of milk and coconut chocolates in the box. So 4 times 1.5, that would be 6. So there would be 6 right here, and then right here, 16 times 1.5, that would be 24. So 24 right here. So therefore, there are 6 milk and 24 coconut stuffed chocolates in the larger box. So now we can use method 2, our equivalent fractions, and this will be basically the exact same. So let's start off with finding out how many milk chocolates we have in the larger box. So we have our milk over our total. And this is 4 over 20 in our small box. And in our large box, it's x over 30, since we don't know the value for x. So now we're doing the exact same thing. We can divide 30 by 20 to see what this whole fraction is being multiplied by to get this one. Seems easy enough. So we do the exact same thing to get 1.5. And now that we know it's 1.5, we can multiply 4 by 1.5 to get the same answer before, which is 6. So therefore, 6 milk chocolates. So now let's do coconut. So we have coconut over total, which is 16 over 20 in the small box and an unknown value over 30 in the large box. So we divide 30 by 20, which we already did, to get 1.5. So now we can multiply 16 by 1.5 to get our x value. And that should give us 24. So therefore, there are 24 coconut stuffed chocolates.